The journey back to Earth aboard the diplomatic vessel Prometheus gave Elena time to reflect on what she had set in motion. The ship's observation deck offered a stunning view of the Milky Way, stars scattered like diamond dust against the void. She pressed her palm against the transparent aluminum viewport, wondering how many of those distant lights harbored civilizations now discussing humanity's unprecedented defiance. "Commander, we're receiving multiple encrypted transmissions from Council species," Lieutenant Park reported, interrupting her contemplation. "Most are official condemnations, but 3 appear to be private communications on non-standard channels." "Forward those 3 to my secure terminal," Elena replied, "and prepare the ship for potential scanning when we reach the Sol checkpoint." In her private quarters, Elena activated the neural interface that connected her to Area. The artificial intelligence had been her partner throughout this mission, analyzing thousands of cultural and diplomatic variables in real time during her Council appearance. "The private messages are fascinating." Area's calm voice resonated directly in Elena's mind. "2 express cautious support for our position, though they're careful to maintain plausible deniability. The 3rd is from a minor trade species offering intelligence on Council containment protocols in exchange for access to our propulsion technology." Elena smiled. "So the cracks are already showing." Admiral Chen predicted it would take at least a month before we received any positive responses. "Humans consistently underestimate how intimidating they appear to the galactic community," Area noted. "Your biological adaptability alone frightens most species. Your diplomatic approach today, choosing respect over subservience, represents an evolutionary path many thought impossible." The ship's alert system chimed, indicating their approach to the Sol checkpoint, the final Council outpost before Earth's solar system. Elena straightened her uniform and prepared for the inevitable inspection. The viewport revealed a gleaming station constructed from what appeared to be living crystal, rotating gracefully against the backdrop of distant Neptune. 3 hegemony patrol vessels moved to intercept the Prometheus. "They're hailing us," Lieutenant Park announced from the bridge, demanding immediate boarding and inspection. "Allow it," Elena ordered, "and remind the crew, reveal nothing beyond what they already know." 6 hegemony officers boarded the ship, their crystalline exoskeletons catching the light as they moved. Their leader, a lieutenant commander according to the markings on his carapace, approached Elena with barely concealed disdain. "Commander Rice, your actions today reflect poorly on your species' readiness for galactic society," he stated, mandibles clicking with disapproval. "The Council has authorized a complete scan of your vessel and all personnel." Elena nodded politely. "We understand and will comply fully. Though I'm curious, is this standard procedure for all diplomatic representatives, or are humans receiving special attention?" The question clearly unsettled the officer, whose exoskeleton briefly shifted to a purple hue, a sign of discomfort Elena had studied extensively. "Your species represents a unique situation," he replied stiffly. The inspection lasted 3 hours. The hegemony officers scanned every compartment, questioned each crew member, and examined all ship systems. They found exactly what Earth wanted them to find, nothing beyond standard diplomatic equipment and the official rejection of Council treaties. As the patrol ships finally allowed the Prometheus to continue toward Earth, Elena received a message from Admiral Chen. "Phase 1 complete. Welcome home, Commander. Phase 2 begins at dawn." Elena watched the checkpoint recede into the distance, knowing that the next time she encountered the hegemony, everything would be different. Humanity had just announced itself to the galaxy not as supplicants, but as equals. The ripples from today would soon become waves, and eventually, a tide that would reshape the stars themselves. The real game was just beginning. Dr. Hassan's discovery sent ripples through Earth's leadership within hours. In her Ganymede laboratory, she worked feverishly to refine the quantum decryption algorithms, her team analyzing the flood of Council communications now suddenly accessible. It's like they've been speaking openly in what they thought was an empty room. She told the assembled virtual images of Earth's Joint Defense Council. They never imagined we could understand their conversations. The arrogance is actually helping us." Admiral Chen's hologram nodded thoughtfully. "What have you learned about their blockade protocols?" "The hegemony fleet maintains standard formation shifts every 14 hours, Fatima explained, projecting a simulation of the blockade patterns. "Their sensor coverage has 3 distinct blind spots near the ecliptic plane that last approximately 90 seconds during each shift. The gaps are tiny, but with our new fold drive calculations, a needle could slip through," Chen finished. "Excellent work, Doctor. How soon can we exploit this?" "The Pathfinder can be ready in 3 days. Captain Okafor is already running simulations based on our findings." Below the Pacific, Admiral Chen ended the connection and turned to her physical visitors, representatives from Mars, Luna, and the Belt colonies. The underwater command center hummed with activity as personnel monitored the hegemony blockade from discrete observation platforms throughout the system. "The Council believes they understand humans based on our recorded history," Chen told her colleagues. "They assume isolation will trigger panic, resource wars, or societal collapse as we fight over diminishing supplies. Instead, we've united like never before," the Martian representative noted with satisfaction. "Production of fold drive components is ahead of schedule in our facilities. The hegemony's blockade gave us the perfect excuse to accelerate military production without raising suspicion." On view screens around the room, progress reports showed humanity's frenetic activity, hidden from Council observers by careful information management. New manufacturing centers deep within lunar regolith. Asteroid mining operations extracting rare elements crucial for advanced quantum systems. AI development proceeding at rates that would horrify the Council's enforcement divisions. Most importantly, Chen said, highlighting a particular report, "Our psychological profiling of Council species is proving accurate. Several members are already questioning the wisdom of quarantining Earth rather than seeking accommodation." The Belt representative, her body showing the characteristic elongation of someone born in low gravity, examined the intelligence summary. The Ilthiri particularly seemed concerned. "Their trading networks have already been disrupted by our sudden absence, which makes them our first target for contact," Chen confirmed. "Their technological specialization complements ours perfectly. What would take us decades to develop independently, they've already mastered, and vice versa." In lunar orbit, Captain Sophia Okafor supervised final preparations aboard the Pathfinder. The experimental vessel resembled no conventional human ship design, its asymmetrical configuration optimized for the quantum field manipulations that powered the fold drive. "Final diagnostics show green across all systems," her executive officer reported. "Fold drive is operating within expected parameters." Okafor ran her hand along the smooth control panel, appreciating the irony that the Council's quarantine had accelerated this moment. Without external restrictions, humanity had compressed the development timeline from years to months. "Begin mission briefing for all crew," she ordered. "Deployment occurs at 600 tomorrow. I want everyone to understand. We're not just testing a new propulsion system. We're rewriting humanity's place in the galaxy." Throughout the solar system, Earth's children prepared for their first true steps into the cosmos, not as supplicants to an ancient order, but as harbingers of change. The Council had sought to contain humanity. Instead, they had removed the last restraints from a species that had always defined itself by overcoming limitations. The quarantine had become a chrysalis. The Pathfinder emerged from its fold transition at the calculated coordinates, far enough from Ilthiri detection systems to avoid immediate alert, yet close enough to reach their civilization within conventional travel time. The ship's systems recalibrated after the reality-bending journey, sensors gradually coming back online as the quantum foam settled. Captain Okafor released her white-knuckled grip on the command chair. Despite extensive simulation training, nothing could fully prepare a human nervous system for the disorienting sensation of folding space. She scanned the bridge crew, noting with satisfaction that everyone had weathered the transition successfully. "Position confirmed," the navigation officer announced. genuine wonder in her voice. We're approximately 47 light-years from Sol, within 500,000 kilometers of target coordinates. The fold drive performed beyond projected parameters. Okafor allowed herself a moment to appreciate the magnitude of what they had just accomplished. Humanity's first interstellar jump, bypassing the Council blockade, as if it were an insignificant roadblock, rather than the coordinated effort of the galaxy's most powerful civilization. Begin passive scans of the system, she ordered. Maintain stealth protocols until we've assessed the security situation. Communications, prepare our first contact package for transmission once we've confirmed the Ilthiri orbital configuration. On the main view screen, the Ilthiri home system revealed itself. A yellow dwarf star with 11 orbiting bodies, the fourth being the arthropoid species homeworld. What immediately captured the crew's attention was the intricate network of orbital habitats spanning the entire system, connected by transport lanes that pulsed with regular traffic. Their engineering is remarkable, Chief Engineer Kazuki observed. Those habitats appear to be grown rather than constructed. Some of them must be several kilometers in diameter. The sensor officer's station emitted a soft alert. Captain, I'm detecting paired patrol vessels near the system's edge. Standard Council security configuration, but the energy signatures match Ilthiri technology, not hegemony. So they maintain their own defense force, Okafor noted. Good. It suggests some level of independence despite Council treaties. The intelligence officer raised a hand. Our intercepted communications suggested the Ilthiri have registered formal protests against technology suppression. Their ships are likely built to Council-approved specifications, but operated under local authority. Okafor considered this information. The mission brief prepared by Earth Intelligence had identified the Ilthiri as potential allies based on their history of Council disagreements, but approaching them carried significant risk. If they chose to report the human vessel, the consequences would be severe for both Earth and the Pathfinder crew. Begin transmitting our contact package on the frequencies identified from the decrypted Council communications, she decided. Target it narrowly at their central administrative habitat. Include the technical specifications we've prepared as a demonstration of good faith. The communications officer hesitated. Captain, are you certain about sharing fold drive schematics? If they report us. The Admiral was clear. Okafor interrupted firmly. We need to demonstrate immediately that we're offering genuine partnership, not exploitation. The Ilthiri have been deliberately prevented from developing independent FTL technology for centuries. There's no better way to distinguish our approach from the Council's. As the carefully crafted message streamed toward the Ilthiri central habitat, tension filled the bridge. Humanity's first deliberate contact with an alien civilization, not as supplicants or newly discovered curiosities, but as equals offering technological liberation. Minutes stretched into an hour with no response. The crew maintained professional composure, but the strain was evident in subtle ways. Tapping fingers, frequent glances at communication monitors, minute adjustments of uniform collars. Finally, the communications system chimed. An incoming transmission, encoded using a modified version of the contact package's encryption protocol. The message was simple, approach coordinates attached. Come alone. We are watching. Humanity's first interstellar diplomacy had begun. The Pathfinder approached the designated coordinates, a modest habitat orbiting the system's outermost gas giant, far from the bustling central worlds. Its design appeared deliberately unremarkable, the kind of installation that attracted minimal attention in a complex stellar society. Interesting choice of meeting location, Lieutenant Commander Riverev observed from the tactical station. This habitat doesn't appear on any official Ilthiri registry we decoded. Captain Okafor nodded. A deniable location. Smart. Maintain passive scans only. We don't want to appear threatening. As they neared the station, a docking bay arised open, its internal lighting pulsing in a specific sequence that matched the authentication code from their earlier exchange. No verbal communication, no traffic control, just silent efficiency. Bring us in, Helm. Engineering, prepare the technical package for transfer. First contact team, with me. Okafor straightened her uniform and took a steadying breath. Humanity's first diplomatic mission beyond the solar system now rested on her shoulders. The docking procedure completed with remarkable precision, the station's automated systems interfacing seamlessly with the Pathfinder's unconventional design. As the airlock cycled, internal sensors confirmed a breathable atmosphere beyond, adjusted to approximate Earth standard. They've been studying our physiological requirements, Dr. Katri, the mission xenobiologist, noted with approval. That's an encouraging sign. The airlock opened to reveal 3 Iltheri representatives. Their insectoid forms stood nearly 2 meters tall, exoskeletons shimmering with subtle iridescence that human eyes could barely perceive. Multiple compound eyes examined the human delegation with evident curiosity. The central figure stepped forward, upper limbs performing a complex gesture. I am Second Engineer Tuvalis. Welcome to Discussion Nexus 7. Your journey here represents either remarkable courage or concerning recklessness. We have not yet determined which. Captain Okafor recognized the formal greeting pattern from their intelligence briefings and responded with the appropriate gesture sequence. I am Captain Sophia Okafor of Earth. We believe some risks are necessary when existing structures prevent meaningful progress. The Iltheri's mandibles clicked, their equivalent of thoughtful consideration. An interesting perspective. Please follow. The delegation was led through curved corridors clearly designed for Iltheri physiology, eventually entering a chamber where a much larger insectoid waited. Unlike the others, this one's exoskeleton displayed elaborate patterns that Earth's intelligence had identified as markers of the highest engineering caste. Queen Engineer HFY Tuvalis announced. The human representatives. The Queen Engineer's compound eyes shifted, individual facets focusing and refocusing as she examined the humans. Your species has violated 37 council directives by coming here, she stated without preamble. The fold drive technology you transmitted for verification breaks at least 42 more. The penalties for these violations include permanent quarantine of your homeworld. Captain Okafor remained composed. With respect, Queen Engineer, we cannot violate treaties we have rejected. Earth no longer recognizes council authority. A semantically interesting but practically irrelevant distinction, HFY replied. The hegemony enforces council will regardless of your recognition. Yet here we are, Okafor countered. Having bypassed their blockade with technology they claimed was theoretically impossible. The Queen Engineer's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sound the human delegation's translators didn't immediately interpret. It took a moment for them to realize it was laughter. Indeed, here you are. HFY's posture shifted subtly. For 7 centuries, we have advanced theoretical propulsion models while being denied the resources to develop practical applications. Now a species barely known to the galaxy appears with working prototypes of concepts our brightest minds were told would destabilize reality itself. She gestured to a nearby console, where the human's technical package was displayed. Your design incorporates principles we theorized, but were forbidden to test. Most intriguing is your solution to the quantum recursion problem. Elegantly simple, yet entirely overlooked in our approach. Okafor recognized the moment of opportunity. What if we combine your theoretical models with our practical implementations? Imagine what our civilizations could achieve together, free from artificial constraints. The chamber fell silent as the Queen Engineer considered this proposal, her compound eyes gleaming with an emotion no human could fully interpret. Captain Okafor of Earth, she finally said, I believe we have much to discuss. Ambassador Shora of the Valari retreated to her private chambers following the tumultuous council session. The ancient diplomat had witnessed countless crises during her 3-century career, but never had she seen such fundamental discord among the governing body. She activated a privacy field, technology reserved for council seniors, before connecting to her homeworld. The situation deteriorates rapidly, she informed the Valari High Conclave. The hegemony delegation has withdrawn, taking 16 loyal species with them. This represents the most significant fracture in Council unity since the Blight Wars. The Conclave Eldest's image shimmered in the holographic display. Your assessment of human intentions? Uncertain, Shora admitted. Their approach defies established patterns. They lack the military capacity to challenge the hegemony directly, yet they act with surprising confidence. Most concerning is their ability to form meaningful alliances in remarkably short timeframes. Our intelligence indicates they have made contact with both the Ilthiri and Nomari. The eldest noted, species with significant technological capabilities, but historically limited by Council restrictions. Shora's facial membranes pulsed with concern, a Valari expression rarely displayed in public forums. A concerning combination. The humans appear to instinctively identify and exploit systemic weaknesses. They recognize potential in others that the Council has deliberately suppressed. The question remains, what position should the Valari take in this emerging conflict? Neutrality is unsustainable, Shora responded firmly. This situation will force all species to choose a side. The hegemony represents stability through hierarchy, a system that has served the galaxy for millennia. Despite its flaws, the humans offer uncertainty, potential chaos, but also. She hesitated, searching for the appropriate word in their ancient language. Possibility, she concluded. They offer possibility where the Council has enforced predictability. Across the galaxy, similar conversations occurred among countless species as news of the Council division spread through official and unofficial channels. The hegemony moved quickly to consolidate its military position, redeploying fleets from routine patrols to strategic locations. Special attention focused on systems with known human contacts. In the Nomari home system, Elder Tileth faced increasing pressure from hegemony representatives. Your interactions with the quarantined species constitute treaty violations, the hegemony diplomat insisted. The Council requires full disclosure of all communications and immediate cessation of contact. The Elder's telepathic abilities detected layers of emotion beneath the diplomat's formal demand. Fear predominating, with undertones of uncertainty and rigid adherence to protocol. The Nomari acknowledge your concerns. Tileth responded with deliberate calm. However, we maintain our sovereign right to diplomatic relations with any civilization we deem appropriate. The human delegation has shared remarkable insights regarding biological interfaces that complement our research. The diplomat's exoskeleton shifted to a threatening crimson. The hegemony reminds the Nomari of your dependence on Council trade routes for essential resources. Tileth's expression remained impassive, revealing nothing of the communication simultaneously taking place through secure quantum channels. Messages exchanged with both Earth Command and Ilthiri engineering teams regarding alternative supply arrangements. On Earth, Admiral Chen reviewed the latest intelligence gathered through their quantum decryption capabilities. The holographic display in her command center showed hegemony fleet movements, diplomatic exchanges, and resource reallocations occurring throughout Council space. They're preparing for conflict, her strategic officer observed. Mobilization at this scale hasn't been recorded in over 500 years. Chen studied the patterns with experienced eyes. They're following standard containment protocols, isolating our potential allies, securing strategic choke points, establishing forward operating positions, exactly as we anticipated. She highlighted a particular section of the display, where gaps in hegemony coverage were becoming apparent. The Ilthiri have transmitted their stealth technology specifications. Begin implementation immediately on the Neptune Defense Network. We need to be ready when they arrive. When, not if, her deputy asked. Chen's expression hardened. The hegemony cannot allow our example to stand. Their entire system depends on absolute compliance. Our very existence as a free agent threatens that model. She expanded the strategic display to show the carefully concealed defensive installations throughout the Sol system, humanity's preparations for the inevitable confrontation. Fortunately, she added with grim satisfaction, we're counting on their predictability. Admiral Chen observed the battle from her command center on Mars, holographic displays providing real-time analysis of the unfolding engagement. The hegemony advance had slowed considerably as they encountered unexpected resistance from Earth's defensive network. Autonomous Platform Cluster 7 is depleted, reported Commander Jackson, monitoring the drone networks. But they've taken down 3 hegemony cruisers in the process. The enemy is adjusting their formation to compensate. Chen nodded, her expression revealing nothing of the tension she felt. Deploy reserve clusters 9 through 12. Maintain the illusion of limited resources. The strategy was delicate. Reveal enough defensive capability to demonstrate Earth's technological prowess, but conceal their true strength to maintain the element of surprise. Each drone cluster contained hundreds of small, nimble combat platforms, each barely 5 meters in length, but equipped with targeting systems that could identify vulnerabilities in hegemony shields. Iltheri stealth vessels reporting successful strike on the enemy command carrier, the communications officer announced. Their central coordination is temporarily disrupted. On the main tactical display, the elegant Iltheri vessels appeared as ghostly outlines, materializing just long enough to deliver precision strikes before vanishing again. The hybrid technology, combining Iltheri stealth systems with human targeting algorithms, had proven more effective than either species had anticipated. The hegemony commander is requesting direct communication, the intelligence officer reported with evident surprise. Their encryption protocols suggest this is a legitimate command-level transmission. Chen straightened her uniform. Put it through. Visual only from our side. A holographic display shifted to show a hegemony commander, his crystalline exoskeleton bearing the distinctive patterns of a high-ranking fleet officer. Battle damage was visible in the command center behind him, emergency lighting casting harsh shadows across alien features. Admiral Chen of Earth, the commander began, his translator conveying the formal tones. This engagement has progressed beyond reasonable parameters. Your defensive capabilities exceed all Council intelligence assessments. Chen maintained a neutral expression. The Council has consistently underestimated humanity, Commander. A tendency we have learned to leverage. The hegemony officer's exoskeleton shifted through several color patterns, indicating internal conflict that the translation software couldn't fully interpret. You have demonstrated effective resistance, he acknowledged finally. The hegemony proposes a temporary cessation of hostilities to enable communication without further loss of vessels. Years of military experience allowed Chen to hear what remained unspoken. The hegemony fleet, accustomed to quick victories against inferior opponents, found itself in the unprecedented position of facing meaningful defeat. Earth is always open to dialogue, Commander, she replied carefully. We will maintain our current defensive posture but refrain from further offensive actions during discussions. Be advised that any attempt to use this cessation for tactical repositioning will result in immediate resumption of hostilities. As the communication ended, Chen turned to her senior staff. The hegemony has never requested mid-engagement dialogue in recorded history. Their command structure doesn't even have established protocols for battlefield negotiation. Her strategic officer smiled slightly. They don't know how to process a scenario where they might lose. Contact Captain Okafor and Queen Engineer Kazitva, Chen ordered. This development accelerates our timeline. If the hegemony is willing to negotiate directly with Earth, other Council species will notice. We need to present a united front of multiple species when discussions begin. Throughout the solar system, humanity's forces maintained vigilant readiness, even as the hegemony fleet held its position. Weapons remained charged, shields at maximum power, a tableau of potential violence suspended in the void. Both sides recognized the historic nature of this moment. For the first time in 15 millennia, the hegemony's military supremacy had been successfully challenged. On Earth, civilian news networks received their first official briefing about the engagement. The careful information management of previous months gave way to transparent reporting about humanity's new alliance with the Iltheri. Public screens in every major city displayed images of the insectoid engineers working alongside human technicians, a powerful symbol of interspecies cooperation. The message was clear. Humanity had not merely survived first contact with the galactic community. It was actively reshaping it. The transparent dome of the Europa Conference facility offered an unobstructed view of Jupiter's swirling atmosphere, a fitting backdrop for the historic gathering. Ambassador Reyes moved among the delegates, her years of diplomatic experience evident in the ease with which she navigated the complex social dynamics of multiple species. The Stellar Compact's fifth principle regarding developmental sovereignty has generated significant discussion, reported her aide, passing her a data tablet with the latest negotiation summaries. The Dravidi delegation has expressed concerns about potential security implications. Reyes nodded thoughtfully. Arrange a private meeting with their chief representative. Their cultural history makes them particularly sensitive to sovereignty issues after their experience with hegemony intervention. Nearby, technical teams from 7 different species collaborated on integrating their various communication systems into a unified protocol that respected each civilization's unique sensory capabilities. Human engineers worked alongside ill-theory specialists, their contrasting physiologies requiring creative adaptations to shared workspaces. Remarkable, observed Ambassador Shora of the Valari, who had chosen to attend as an independent observer after resigning her council position. In my 3 centuries of diplomatic service, collaborative technical development was always mediated through council standardization committees. Direct cooperation between species was discouraged as inefficient. We find diversity drives innovation, Reyes replied. Different perspectives reveal solutions that might be overlooked from a single viewpoint. The Valari's facial membranes pulsed with an emotion her translator didn't attempt to convey, a philosophically interesting approach. The Council has always valued unified standards and predictable outcomes over innovation. It created stability, but at what cost? Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Elder Teleth of the Nomari, whose telepathic abilities had proven invaluable in facilitating genuine understanding between species with radically different thought patterns. The hegemony has dispatched an unofficial representative, the Elder informed them quietly. They're currently maintaining observer status in low orbit, analyzing our activities. Reyes smiled slightly, exactly as Admiral Chen predicted. Their hierarchical structure demands they gather intelligence on this gathering, yet their pride prevents formal acknowledgement. Their representatives' surface thoughts suggest internal conflict within hegemony leadership, Teleth added. Their rigid social structure struggles to adapt to changing circumstances. Some factions advocate for military escalation, while others recognize the potential benefits of limited engagement with the compact. In the center of the facility, technical teams activated the newly integrated communication system, allowing all delegates to simultaneously receive information in forms suited to their sensory capabilities. The central holographic display transformed to show the proposed compact principles in 42 different languages and symbolic systems. Queen Engineer Kazitva stepped forward, her iridescent exoskeleton reflecting the light dramatically. The technical implementation of our first collaborative project is complete. A communication system that honors our differences rather than suppressing them for convenience. This embodies the Compact's fundamental philosophy. The assembled delegates, representing species that had been carefully kept separate by council policies for millennia, responded with their diverse forms of approval. The clicking mandibles of the Ilthiri harmonized with the resonant humming of the crystalline tholins and the subharmonic vibrations of the gaseous sprel. Ambassador Reyes surveyed the gathering with quiet satisfaction. The path to this moment had been dangerous, requiring humanity to gamble its very survival on the belief that other species would respond to a genuine offer of partnership. The Council's greatest miscalculation had been assuming that humans, like all previous emerging civilizations, would either submit to established hierarchy or attempt to dominate through force. Instead, humanity had offered a third option: cooperation without subjugation. The preliminary framework for interspecies research sharing has been completed, announced a human Nomari technical team. Initial simulations suggest a 300% acceleration in technological development across all participating civilizations once artificial barriers are removed. Throughout the chamber, delegates exchanged glances of cautious optimism. For many, this represented the first genuine hope for advancement after centuries of carefully enforced stagnation. The Stellar Compact was taking shape, not through conquest or coercion, but through the radical proposition that diversity could be a source of strength rather than a challenge to be managed. The diplomatic station orbiting the galactic core represented a marvel of collaborative engineering. Its graceful spiral structure incorporated architectural elements from a dozen species, each section designed to accommodate different physiological needs while maintaining a cohesive whole. Observation platforms offered breathtaking views of the galaxy's heart, a fitting symbol for this new chapter in interstellar relations. Ambassador Reyes studied her reflection in the viewport of her private chamber, noting the silver threading through her once dark hair. 5 years of intense diplomatic work had left their mark, yet the results justified every sleepless night and difficult negotiation. The hegemony delegation has arrived, ARIA informed her through their neural link. The AI, now recognized as a sentient entity with full rights under compact law, maintained a discrete presence in Raya's neural implant. Ambassador Clovorn leads personally, accompanied by representatives from 4 hegemony client species. Their approach suggests significant internal debate preceded this decision. Thank you, ARIA. Please notify Admiral Chen and the reception team. Reyes made her way to the central meeting chamber, designed specifically for this historic occasion. The circular space featured a transparent floor revealing the swirling stellar matter of the galactic core below, a deliberate choice to remind all participants of their shared cosmic heritage. Admiral Chen awaited her, the years having added distinguished lines to her face, but none to her posture. Our intelligence suggests Clovorn faced considerable opposition to this meeting, she informed Reyes quietly. 3 high-ranking hegemony officials were reassigned after advocating continued isolation rather than engagement. Their economic reports must be troubling, Reyes replied. Without treaty-enforced advantages, the hegemony's resource supply chains have become increasingly unstable. The chamber's main entrance dilated to admit the hegemony delegation. Ambassador Clovorn entered first, his crystalline form less imposing than during their first council encounter. His exoskeleton, once brilliant with the colors of absolute authority, now displayed subtle imperfections, signs of stress within a species that valued perfect symmetry. Ambassador Reyes, he acknowledged with formal precision. Admiral Chen, the hegemony appreciates your willingness to host this discussion. 5 years earlier, such diplomatic phrasing would have been unthinkable from a hegemony representative addressing an emerging species. The subtle positioning of themselves as guests rather than superiors marked a profound shift in galactic power dynamics. Welcome to the Galactic Cooperation Station, Reyes responded warmly. We're pleased you've chosen to join these discussions. As they moved toward the conference area, Clovorn observed the integrated technology surrounding them. Your collaborative engineering is impressive. The station's power distribution system appears to combine ill-theory crystalline conductors with human quantum regulation principles and Thalon resonance stabilizers, Chen added. The efficiency exceeds any single species approach by approximately 43%. A junior hegemony official leaned toward Clovorn, mandibles clicking in their equivalent of a whisper. They've achieved this integration in merely 5 years. Our estimates suggested decades would be required. Clovorn's response was too quiet for the human's translators to capture, but his exoskeleton briefly flashed colors indicating discomfort. As they reached the conference area, representatives from 34 compact species awaited them, arranged not in hierarchical order, but in a pattern facilitating optimal communication between diverse physiologies. The gathering included species from every technological tier, including several pre-spaceflight civilizations invited as observers and potential future members. Before we begin formal discussions, Reyes said, gesturing to the diverse assembly, I'd like to introduce you to the newest participants in our mentorship program. The delegation from a young amphibious species stepped forward, their environmental suits allowing them to breathe outside their aquatic habitat. They had achieved rudimentary space exploration only 3 years earlier, yet here they stood among the galaxy's ancient civilizations, not as subjects or curiosities, but as honored guests with perspectives worthy of respect. The Naltari achieved their first orbital flight using entirely original propulsion concepts. Rise explained, concepts that our established engineering paradigms had overlooked. Already, their unique approach to fluid dynamics has contributed significantly to compact environmental system designs. Colvorn studied the amphibious newcomers, his compound eyes shifting through focusing patterns that his species used for detailed assessment. The Council would have classified them as Tier 7 development, restricted to their home system for at least 4 centuries of observation. We prefer a different approach, Rise replied simply. The unspoken truth hung in the air between them. The hegemony's carefully constructed galactic order, maintained through treaties, restrictions, and hierarchical control for 15 millennia, had been fundamentally transformed in just 5 years by humanity's alternative vision, not through conquest or superior firepower, but through this simple, revolutionary concept of genuine partnership.